Hello, Weird Nation, and welcome back to another speed build here on the Feed the Weird channel for The Sims 4. As you can see, we are continuing our build journey in the city of the San Myshuno. They always come up with the worst names. Well, Windenburg was pretty cool. But San Myshuno, and I guess that goes back to, they said that this pack was really inspired by Asian influences like Tokyo, India, even see hints of Vietnamese in there as far as the food cuisine is involved, which I think is really awesome. I always like whenever cultural things are added into a game because it's a more inclusive experience for the people who are playing the game. Not everybody is American who plays The Sims 4, and it's nice for them to see parts of their culture to be integrated within The Sims. So with that being said, as you can tell from this title, we are building an Indian restaurant. I'm so excited. This is actually the first restaurant that I'm premiering on my channel. I've built a few already, but because the game pack came out for City Living, I really wanted to get those videos up first, and then I'll introduce all the rest of the restaurants that I actually have on my gallery that I just haven't shared with you guys, and I'm pretty proud of them. One is quite familiar. I don't want to give you too much of it, but one is quite familiar, and if you probably played in it before, and I was so happy to recreate it, and you'll probably see that a few weeks from now after I get San Myshuno out of my head. But like I said, we are building a Indian restaurant, and this was completely random. I actually had started working on one of the penthouses that I'll be showcasing next week, and I was kind of getting bored a little bit because when I do bigger builds, it takes more out of me, kind of. I have to decorate so much space, and it kind of makes my head like, oh, it's annoying, I don't want to do this anymore. So when I get like that, I usually go into live mode, and I did make a new sim for San Myshuno. I don't think I uploaded her though, just because, oh yes I did. I did upload her. Her name is Nadia Swan if you go onto my catalog on the Sims 4 gallery. But I made her, and I wanted to see all the cast items, so I did that, and I wanted to add in some new restaurants into the game for her to visit besides for the ones that we already have. And I noticed that we didn't have an Indian restaurant yet, so I was like, why don't I just build one? So that was kind of a nice little breather from totally decorating a whole penthouse. Like, I think, what is it? It's on a 40 by 30 lot, and you can't use terrain paint, and all of the landscaping kind of looks artificial, and I was getting really frustrated with it. So to take time away from it, I was like, I'll just build an Indian restaurant because I really wanted my sim to have Indian food, and I think it's one of the only, not the only, but it's one of the, yeah, it actually is one of the only cuisines where you visit a it's not a food truck, it's like a food vendor. You have those in, if you live in, if your sim lives in San Myshuno, whether it be in the arts district, the spice district, the fashion district, or uptown, they have like these food vendors. If you just go outside, you can go in like the communal lot, and they have different cuisines on different days. And I think Indian food, or at least the Indian food vendor, is the only one that has all very vegetarian options. And if you're like me, when any game pack comes out and they have any neat traits, I kind of try to get my sim to have all the traits for that. So one of them is vegetarian, which is awesome, and not at the same time, because I can't learn new food recipes because she'll get sick from eating them. But she's a vegetarian, so whenever I see an Indian food vendor, I'm like, yeah, she can eat finally, because sometimes it's really hard. I think with Vietnamese, they don't have any vegetarian options. I think with the Chinese vendor, they have like the sweet and sour eggplant. Oh, hey, Tina. Sorry, my cat just jumped on me. Hi, Boo. Hi. But yeah, they have the sweet and sour eggplant, but other than that, she doesn't really have that many options. So with an Indian restaurant, if she were to go on a date at an Indian restaurant, she can actually eat stuff besides salad. So that's great. The inspiration for this build actually literally came off Google because all of the Indian restaurants that I have here in Baltimore, they're more of the, at least around me, they're kind of built into townhomes or row homes, kind of like the Sims were in the Spice District. As you can see, you kind of see the brownstones. So in Baltimore, especially in like the cultural areas, some of the restaurants and retail spots are actually built within the home. So the apartments are upstairs, and then downstairs like a Chinese restaurant, Indian restaurant, like maybe a clothing store or a laundromat. So I was looking for one that had a standalone and was looking for inspiration for that. And I found one. It's actually, oh God, where is it? I'm probably gonna butcher this name. It's in Jakarta. God, I am not cultured as much as I thought I was, but it's over there. I think it's Indonesia, in one of those. I can't remember. I think it's in Jakarta. I don't want to butcher the name of it. I actually named it after the actual name of the restaurant that I'm building it off of. Is it Kinara? I think that's the name of it. It's Kinara. And the reason why I fell in love with it, one, because the outside presence was kind of awesome. It's just like a random hole in the wall, and you probably don't think much of it when you're looking at it. But when you go inside, they have like this beautiful kind of like indoor garden on either side with these really huge, beautiful decorative pots and plants and things. So I really wanted to capture that essence within the entrance of this restaurant. And when you go upstairs, it's like a whole new building. Like, it's so romantic. It's so open air. When you look up from the main area, you can see the sky, and it has like all of these really intricate tapestries hanging from the ceiling, which I didn't do with this build because we don't have those yet. But it was just beautiful, and the light was kind of shining down from it onto this beautiful, I don't know if it's a pond or not. I think it's a little small pond that they had, but the picture that I showed, they kind of like emptied out the water. But I can imagine it was probably water in it at one time. Probably was like fish floating through there. And I was just like, this is so pretty and romantic. I just want to rebuild that. So I got to work and I rebuilt it because I really wanted an Indian restaurant in The Sims. And when I looked up on the gallery, like, hey, is there an Indian restaurant? There were some options, but they just weren't as nice as I like playing in them. So I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna build a restaurant. So that's kind of how this came out, and it works out because I get to build a restaurant, you get to finally have a restaurant for me, and it's still technically city living. So I technically get to use dine out options, which I haven't done. So that was pretty cool for me. But yeah, this is going to actually be quite a long build because it took me some time just to get everything inside, get it kind of the way I wanted it, and especially how it is in real life. Just making sure that it was kind of, how can I say, not subjective, but kind of realistic and pretty. And for me, whenever I think of pretty stuff, I just try to make sure that it's just from a realistic standpoint, it's just aesthetically pleasing and also realistic to the point where it kind of matches the existing build within the world. Part of the reason why I like The Sims 4 is because I get to build these places that I just don't have time, or I don't have the money in order to afford to travel the world and visit these places. So for me, when I build something in a Sims 4, I'm kind of like traveling to that space. I'm living in that home that I want. It's kind of not a release, but it's just a point in time where I can escape the reality that I am right now and then teleport myself into a space that is existing and say, hey, I'm kind of there right now. So that's what I really like about the Sims 4. You can kind of create the reality that you don't technically have right now, and especially in building, your sim can kind of explore the world that you don't have an opportunity to do right now. Would it be awesome for me to visit this place in real life? Hell yeah. Can I do that right now? Maybe not. So that's kind of where the inspiration came for. So I think the most difficult thing about this build was ensuring that it was interesting looking, because yes, the physical build is very impressive in person, but from a building standpoint on the Sims, because we don't have so many decorative items and I only can use certain items in order to bring it out, I really had to play around with textures. I had to play around with colors, which is always hard for me. I had to play around with objects, so this build kind of took me, I would say, roughly 6 hours to build, because I had to look at lighting, I had to look at texture, I had to look at paints, I had to look at all these little things that I wanted to add in order to make it realistic, and it just took me a long time. So this is going to be slightly longer, slightly longer speed build. I think it's at 30 minutes for the whole thing, so just sit back and relax for the next, how long have I been talking? 12 minutes. So what do we have, like 17 minutes together. So it's gonna be a little bit of a long ride. So you kind of already know what I'm doing because you can see what I'm doing. So I'll talk about the game pack itself of City Living and kind of my review on it, because I didn't have a chance to really talk about it in my first build, which if you want to see that, it'll be an annotation here. It was basically a renovation of one of the apartments within the Spice District. I didn't have time to kind of give my opinion on it because it was a short video and I wanted to get something out as soon as possible. So since I have some time to talk on this one, I'll give my opinion on City Living. Ha 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 ha. So, City Living, I literally downloaded, I was way too excited from all of the trailers that premiered for it. I think I was way more excited about this than Get Together. Like, Get Together was cool. It had more of a European vibe. I would say a heavy Swedish influence to it, which was cool. But with City Living, you kind of feel, I don't know, it felt very American to me, and that's always great. So whenever, like, especially with the Spice District, it looks exactly like any stereotypical kind of Brooklyn-esque neighborhood. There's brownstones everywhere, there's graffiti everywhere, there's trash everywhere. So it's just like, yes, my home, my dirty, filthy city. So naturally I had to put my sim in the Spice District because, hey, it's just beautiful. As far as cast goes, let's start from the beginning with cast. Since I don't do as much live mode, at least especially not on this channel, I don't do any let's plays anymore with characters that I've created in a game. Cast has kind of always been on the back burner with me, but this time I took the time to really look at all of the items, and I must say, I would say I would give it like 80% of the wardrobe that came with this pack was pretty good. There were certain ones that were kind of like, why? I know it was a basic short sleeve kind of skater dress that came with it, and it just looked like something that we've had before, and I was just looking like, okay, another nice neutral dress that I can put on my son, but it was nothing really interesting about it. What else didn't I like? It was a skirt option, like the skirt in the front, shorts in the back option that came with it. It was kind of just, it looked like something that came off of Forever 21, so it came into like 2 triangles in the front, and I was just like, okay, I guess that's cute. Maybe I'm just too old to wear something like that. At my age, I just don't think I would wear that. It's just maybe one of those little hipster kids can wear that, just not me. So that's another item that I wasn't really too like, ooh, that's fun. But my favorite cast item, I think, definitely the head wraps, because as a black woman, when you don't feel like doing your hair, you're literally your hair is in a head wrap. So for me, as an ethnic standpoint, that was amazing, because we go to sleep in head wraps, we walk around in colorful head wraps, and that's just like, yes, I love this. It's very ethnic. I also liked this structural kind of element to some of the clothing, and I think that's more for people who lived in Uptown, but they kind of had like the different pants that had different structural elements to it that kind of had like the 2 layers on it. Then they had this beautiful, I call it the origami dress, but it was just, oh, it was just perfection. I love that dress to pieces. And then there's another one that's kind of like laser cut that came in different colors. I think the one in brown. Oh, I was just like, yes, I love these cast items. And that's what I was looking for with cast. I wanted something that was decorative, but not so loud. We also got a 1 earring thing, which was like a little feather, which I've been wanting forever. So if we can get more of those, that'd be awesome. I didn't like the other earring choice. I think it was a bird, and it just came in just really loud colors, and I just wasn't into it. As you know, if you watch my channel quite often, I don't really like busy colors. I don't really like loud colors. So when I saw the bird and it came in like a lime green, and I was just like, well, why would you do that? I've been perfectly fine if it came in like a white, and I think it does, but I don't know, I just didn't really like it that much. As far as guys, of course, we didn't get that much guy clothes, and I always feel bad for the guys, whoever is playing the game as a guy. And just so you know, there will be some saves in here because my game was kind of acting wonky for some reason. The last 2 updates has made the game a little laggy, and I've heard it from other YouTubers that play the game too, that it's been freezing, and it's also been laggy. So, and I know it's not my computer because I updated it and I have like a very high processor now, so it has to be the game. It's not me, and there's no CC in it, so whatever. But back to guys' clothes within the cast. You got 3 hairstyles. I do like the little hipster bun thing, but we got that in, I think we got that in Spa Day, but they just improved it by adding 2 braids on either opposite side, which was cute. I really liked it. Then we got a wavy kind of thickly suave kind of hair, which only works on certain sims, to be honest. Wasn't really feeling it. And then we got a shorter version, but less poofy. It was like a guy with thinning hair would do. So, I don't know, I wasn't really into those hairs. I did like the new suit option that came with it. Is very nice, and the structural clothes looked awesome on the guys. Love that too. So Cass, I would give Cass a 3 out of 5. Definitely. There were some objects that we just already had. There were some objects that were just too loud. And then other objects that were just really amazingly good. And I wish we had more of those amazingly good objects in the game. As far as build buy mode options, I love the whole ethnic features that we've gotten thus far. Like, I love the rugs. I love the chairs that you see here that I'm putting down for the dining room table. I don't think we got any wall textures. Can't remember. We probably did, but I just don't remember at the time. I love these little lights. I don't know if they came with this pack, but I've never used them before, and I was really obsessed with them. I just like the whole vibe, the richness of the build by mode options. It just seemed, it definitely fit this pack, and it was a variety pack. It wasn't just something for certain people. Like with the get together, we had that heavy European vibe, which was fine. That's kind of what Windenburg was. But with this pack, I feel like it's something for everyone. It's not just a Asian pack. It's not just an American pack. It's not just a typical American city pack. I think it's just something for everybody and expands on everything. And I think that's kind of what city living is. And in fact, it's just a melting pot of all these different cultures coming together. So that's why I kind of really like this pack a lot. And I just like, again, I like the food options that come, and it's just, I really like it. And the whole, I don't know how I feel about the lot traits. I can see how they're effective. You do definitely earn your skills way faster than I anticipated. I think when I put the homie vibe on her apartment, she was at a level 5 cooking skill on day 3, and I was just like, can we slow down a little bit? I haven't even cooked everything yet. So it's really cool if you're one of those people who do the Sims 4 challenges, like the baby challenge or like the generations challenge. Is it generations or is it legacy? I think it's the legacy challenge. I think that's really, really good for you. Look at this flower thing. That's my favorite object. I just have to point that out. That's my favorite object of the whole entire city livings thing. That thing right there. I'm gonna use that so much. I'm sorry. It won't get old for me. I'm just gonna let you know right now. But anyways, I just think, I don't even know what I was saying because I got distracted by my little flower pot because it's so pretty. I just think this pack just gives a flavor that other packs haven't gotten thus far. It's a very inclusive pack, and I think that's what the Sims were missing. It was starting to get a little dull. It was starting to get a little boring because everything just started to look exactly the same. And this pack definitely revitalized my hopes in the pack. It just made me very happy to play the game again because it was just so many options that I could explore. And this painting, I know it's really simple, but it's just pretty. And I just feel like we didn't really have, we had pretty stuff, but we didn't have interesting stuff. So with this pack, we have so much interesting stuff that we can actually put into our builds now. I think this is a builder's dream pack, and I just like it. Again, my only complaint is I just don't have enough beds. I just wish we had more beds. That's my only complaint. Look at that mirror. The mirror is awesome. I love it. So as a pack as a whole, I would definitely give this a 4 out of 5. There's some things in the game, there's some things in the pack that just prevented me from getting it a 5 out of 5, but definitely a 4 out of 5 because of the diversity of the pack. And I think that's a lot of things that any builder or even just a person that is strictly live mode can kind of stand by, because after a while everything starts to look the same, but when you add diversity into it, kind of just get excited, get really, really excited about it. Speaking of diversity, I'm recording this on election day. I think we're all in a state of confusion right now. Confusion, excitement, like what the hell is happening? And I think this pack came out at a beautiful time period, especially for America, where we're how can I put it? I'm not trying to get political here, and not at all. I'm more so just trying to state my opinion as far as the state of affairs of America right now. I think we've come to a point where we realize that we are a melting pot of all of these cultures. We've come to realize that women are important. Black lives do matter. We come with all of these social issues, all of these underlying things that make us human beings, make us different, make us interesting. And I think this pack came out at a good time where it can celebrate the different cultures that represent America. I think this pack is very American. I don't just think that it's a regular pack for like Europe or anything. I think it's a very American pack. And I don't mean to sound like, oh my god, go America, fuck everybody else. That's not my intention as far as making this video. It's more so I feel like this is what America is. This is a melting pot of so many different cultures and ideas, and we're sitting on I don't want to say a land. We're sitting in a place in which we can freely be ourselves to a point, quote unquote, be ourselves and be free, quote unquote. That's what America is built on, being the land of the free. Not so free sometimes, but we are on the premise that you can come here, be yourself, like what you like, still celebrate your culture, and no one gives you shit about it sometimes. And I feel like this is what this pack is. It's a very inclusive pack. It's a very user-friendly pack, I think. I think that's where I'm going with it. I think it's just a pack where we can celebrate differences and everybody can kind of enjoy it. It's not just for one particular person. But yeah, I didn't mean to get political there. I don't even think I really got political. I think I was just saying what's on my mind, but I just feel like this pack came out as a good time around election time to remind us that we don't want to get rid of these differences that are between all of us. We really, really want to keep all of the differences that we have between us, but also celebrate the similarities of the human race. And I think that's what this pack does. And I'm really happy with it. Like, I don't really have that much complaints besides just the normal stuff. But we are coming to a close. I feel like I didn't even talk about this build whatsoever, but as you can see, I'm almost done. I kind of I'm trying to get back to where I was at a point. I did player test this restaurant. I was only in it for an hour. My Sims got tired, so I took her back home. But I feel like everything's working. All the chefs were in the kitchen and everything. I just didn't know about wait times. But as you can see, it's kind of like an open area layout. The kitchen is right there where I'm putting on the draping. I did, however, take away that big glass structure because when I was taking screenshots, it just didn't look good. And it just didn't look good in the build. So I took it out. You still have the sun shining from up top. It still shines on that beautiful petal bed that I love. So I just took that off, and it just, for me, it looks 10 times better with that. I did upload it to the gallery first about, I think, this weekend, and when I was looking at it, I just felt like it was missing a lot of things, so I revisited it and added more stuff. Like, I didn't have these curtains, and I really wanted to put curtains in it because it just looked a little bit better. It looked a little bit more decorative. I added more windows, so it created more natural light to come into the space. And I added just more pieces on the side of the places, of the side of the building, because I just thought it was missing something, and I don't know, it was irritating me. And I like, whenever I upload anything on the gallery, I just want to make sure it looks nice, and I just felt like it was lacking in certain areas, so I just made sure I added more decorative pieces outside. I added the stairwell, kind of like the emergency system that leads to nowhere, up top, because it just reminds me more of a city that way. And I added the outside trash cans because I realized I didn't have any trash cans. I also added some half walls up to the top because it just, like I said, it was missing something, so I just wanted to add more things to it after kind of sleeping on the build and kind of readjusting, but just rethinking what actually I was doing with it and to make it a little bit more decorative. And I think the revised version, which I do actually have up on the gallery now, looks 10 times better than the version that I uploaded that day just to get something out. So I am happy to say this is on the gallery. You can definitely download it. It is definitely a labor of love, 6-hour labor of love, but regardless, it is pretty, and I really enjoyed building this. It was out of my comfort zone. I'm not usually, I don't know. No, is it out of my comfort zone? No, because it kind of just uses all these neutral colors, so that's definitely my comfort zone. To be honest, definitely. But yeah, we're just adding more and more decorative pieces. The only thing I will say about this build that really irked me is that that little sun sign thing going down to the flower bed, it wasn't in the middle of the build, so I was really pissed about that. But it's okay, I'll live, I'll survive. It's not symmetric this time, whatever. But anyways, we are at the end of the build and we're going to go into some screenshots now. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch everything with this video. I know it was kind of long and I kind of was all over the place with talking, but that's usually what happens when I have to talk for a long time. But if you want to see more builds that I have done, make sure you click on the annotation at the end and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to see more builds that I've done, or that I'm going to do in the future. Alrighty guys, I think that's all for me. As always, make sure you keep being weird, and I'll see you next time. Bye!